At like 4, right?
Start preschool at 3.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so let's say okay, we got a kid, and in a year and a half, 2 years,
right?
She's gonna be in school,
right?
Do you want your child to be? I get that you want your dream wedding or whatever, but do you want your child to be in school in I guess a neighborhood where the schools aren't so great,
right?
Or would you rather getting this down payment for this house and we move to fucking, let's use LA for example. So we live in Hawthorne. So we use this down payment. Now we move to like fucking Brentwood or somewhere. Now our child's going to school in fucking Brentwood and Beverly Hills.
Oh, whoa, calm down. That's like $1 million.
I'm just saying, like, for an example.
Okay,
I'm just
Lakewood. Let's just go with Lakewood.
Shit, Lakewood schools is better than fucking.
I know it is.
It's better than out there in Hawthorne. So yeah,
I know that. We'll Lakewood. Like,
get a nice
let's go.
They got nice houses in Lakewood.
Let's go price range. Let's go closer to a substantial, reasonable.
Would you rather your kid be going to school in a pretty bad neighborhood where they might not get the best education, or would you rather go into like Lakewood or like Signal Hill,
right?
Cerritos, that area, like that border area where it's like border Long Beach, border OC, where they can probably go to a school and get maybe a little better education compared to what you're gonna get in that specific part of the South Bay. So, right. We can even get something in Torrance.
Okay, so that's your one argument. What would be your other argument? Not argument, but like your other like way to persuade a person away from the wedding.
My second argument would be, okay, so if we're trying to start a family, I get that you want a wedding, but don't you want to have a home that's ours that we can one day pay off and that we could pass down to our children and they could pass down to their children and so on and so forth? Or you want to keep renting apartments or paying for condos or townhomes or whatever it is?
Now, what if the girl says like, well, like we can still do all that, but like why not have the wedding first? Then we can start saving for a house. And like, what if I don't want to rush into a house yet because it's a big commitment and I want to do the wedding first?
You want to rush into a house because it's a big commitment, but you already said yes to me marrying you.
Oh,
that's the biggest commitment there.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
You already said yes to getting married. There's nothing that's a bigger commitment than marriage.
Right.
A house is not a bigger commitment.
But what about like usually like
on a house is not a bigger commitment than getting married. I know houses are expensive, but a marriage is supposed to be like a lifetime thing.
Okay, so what about the argument of like, you know how like after proposal you don't want to wait too long until having a wedding? Some girls just kind of want to have the wedding right away, or maybe some guys just kind of want to have the wedding right away. And you don't want to like extend that like fiance period too long, you know?
Mm-hmm. We get in a house. You can still get married. We could get married right away. Right. It don't have to be an expensive wedding.
All right, let me budge in and do this like like.
And if we're going off of American culture, your parents should be paying for the wedding anyways, not us.
Okay, but that.
So.
But you can't always rely on the parents. My thing, I never understood in American culture that the parents are always paying.
But the
I didn't understand
even the parents
that. Like, what if the parents doesn't pay for the wedding though?
That's fair. Okay, you got to save up to pay for your own wedding. I'm not saying that that's mandatory, but in our culture, usually that's in like American culture, that's usually how it goes. Like usually the bride's parents pay for the wedding or whatever. Right. So my thing is
now if that's
the case, if they can't pay for the wedding, and then they see that you're on this show and you're getting either $30,000 for a wedding or $30,000 for a mortgage.
No, it's your own money. You're not getting it from the show. Like the show is just something that brought up discussion, but we're saying like your own money. Imagine it's your
their own money.
Yeah, imagine like you had that much right now.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather spend it on the wedding or
I would still rather spend it on a house.
Right.
If I had that much, I'd rather get a house because we could do a wedding.
Well, see here, I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain it how like I view it. Right. So how I would persuade it is that like there's this thing that's called refi, and I think it's very, very reasonable to use it within the first 2 years of after buying a house.
What is that? Refinance?
A refinance. So basically, if you're a couple who imagine, like for example, we're living in a townhome right now, right? Me and my girlfriend, and a dog, and I'm planning to get married soon, right? But let's say if we have 30,000 or 40,000 as a down payment, right? I would reasonably like to put that down on a house payment because we work so hard to save that significant amount of money, right? And so my personal opinion, I don't really want to get married and then like going back to a rental home, or I don't want to be in a rental home for so long because then I'm constantly worrying about after my contract how much they were going to raise it.
Exactly.
I'm constantly thinking about like where might I find place to rent next, and if you live in California, you know the prices are so high that like how much are you willing to keep up with the rent pricing? Now renting hasn't gone up drastically within the last 5 to 10 years that much. Actually 5 years. It hasn't gone up that much within the last 5 years, right? But so you can always use that 40,000 and take that like that take a little like that 40,000. You can take that 40,000 and you can kind of suck it up a little bit. You can put that down on house payment, and then you get your house, right? You go to escrow and all that, and then like a year and a half later, you can refi or do a HELOC, which is a home equity line loan, where you're taking a small chunk of money out of your house as a loan, and then you can use that to do the wedding, and then you can just pay that off monthly. But now after the wedding, you can come back to your own home that you own, not a rental. And if you're in a switch situation like you and your kid, like it's kind of like important to like not be always on the move, because if you own a home, you're not constantly looking for a home to rent.
You're trying to look for somewhere, especially when you got a kid, because
right.
You don't want to be constantly moving them from school to school.
Right.
And you want to be able to go somewhere and be stable.
And now I'm referring back to the show, as in like 7 of the 10 couple chose the wedding. And it's just kind of like the reasoning is like, oh, you know what, like we just got engaged, so it's like it's the best time to do the wedding now. We can always get a house later. But I think in where I opposed to that, it's like you can always do the wedding whenever. There's people that get married and have like fucking 5 weddings throughout their whole marriage. Like they can have a re-wedding like every other 10 years. That's the thing, right?
It's not called a re-wedding.
It's a 10 year. It's
renewing your vows.
Yeah, renewing your vow, whatever.
I guess it's big. I've never really been to one of them. I guess, but it's basically like a wedding, but it's not really a wedding.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's not really a wedding. But I get what you're saying.
So the thing is like they want to do the wedding now before it's too late. But also like if you do the wedding, then now let's scratch that 30,000 out. You're starting over from scratch, and so like how
And a wedding's not an investment. A house is an investment.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing, like you're not getting back in equity whatsoever. You're not gaining any money whatsoever. If you buy the house, next thing you know, 2 years down the line, your house is worth 40,000 more than what you bought it.
You can sell it and go get a better house.
You can sell it. Yeah, exactly. And also like just because you're buying a house, it's a big commitment. I know that, but there's a lot of people who buying houses and never finish paying. They just sell it and get in different houses. But just by buying a house, now you have a stake in like an asset that you own that is like very substantially like
that's a valuable asset.
Yeah, it's a valuable asset.
Any house is always a valuable asset.
That isn't like a car where like it depreciates as soon as you drive out the lot.
Yeah,
like
it gains money over time.
Yeah, buying a house is basically like investing in stocks. Like, I mean, sometimes stocks go down, but most of the time, like if you invest in the right one, it's gonna go up. And real estate, it's only gonna go up. It's
never really gonna go down.
Yeah, like people like always gonna need a roof over their shoulders. So exactly. I just think, in my opinion, like the down payment is substantially like a much better financial decision than the wedding. But the thing is, a lot of people value the wedding a lot more. I think nowadays weddings becoming this thing where it's like it's a flex. It's it's something where you can brag amongst your peer that you're getting a wedding and blah 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 blah. But it's just a wedding in itself. Is like there's a bachelorette thing. It's just fucking crazy. Because like if you look at the statistic, I think the average wedding cost, I think it's like $50,000 in America, which is insane. 50 G's. That's like more than most cars. That's definitely a house payment. Like that's definitely like, because you don't need to like put down a 20% down payment. You can put down like a 5% of 10%. You're gonna be paying HOA in California if you're paying that little in down payment. But either way, like it's still a down payment, you know. So I just think like